The silence around Shedeur Sanders just got pierced, and not by a headline, not by a rumor, but by the Browns' own quarterback coach. Bill Musgrave stepped up to the mic this week and gave the kind of quote that doesn't just ripple, it detonates. And the shockwave? It's already tearing to the locker room, the fan base, and the very foundation of the Browns' so-called quarterback development strategy. What did he say? Not much, but enough. Shedeur hasn't really been getting reps with the scout team. We're focusing on some other things right now. That was it. Casual, offhand, maybe even unintentional. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. But in that one sentence, Musgrave said what the Browns' front office and coaching staff have been dancing around for months. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie quarterback fans have been rallying around, the jersey-selling machine, the walking headline, the media darling, the guy many believe could save this franchise, isn't even running scout team plays. He's watching. Just watching. And if you don't think that's a big deal, let me walk you through why this is the NFL equivalent of lighting a match next to a gas leak. Scout team reps are not glamorous. They're not televised. They don't get you on highlight reels. But they're everything to a young quarterback trying to grow in the league. It's the classroom. It's the lab. It's where timing, decision-making, and chemistry with receivers is forged under pressure against your team's own defense. And Shedeur? He's not even in the lab. He's standing on the sidelines in a hoodie while lesser-known backups are getting reps against the ones. He's taking mental notes while guys with no national buzz are throwing pick sixes and shrugging it off. He's being treated like a project when he should be treated like a prototype. This isn't just about development. It's about deliberate delay. Because here's what people don't want to say out loud. This feels intentional. This feels like a player being buried, kept in the shadows, put in the corner not because he's underperforming, but because his very presence threatens the order. You don't sideline a player with Shedeur's upside by accident. You do it because you're scared of what happens when the world sees him work. And if you're Musgrave and you've been watching that situation unfold every day in practice, maybe you finally just say it out loud, even if you don't mean to, even if you weren't supposed to. Let's call it what it is. A mess. This is a franchise that's clearly at war with itself. You got ownership that sees Shedeur as a marketing goldmine and future starter. You got fans who see him as the answer. You got a locker room that's quietly, sometimes not so quietly, pushing for him to take the field. And then you've got a coaching staff that's frozen, terrified to deviate from their rigid plan, still clinging to quarterback hierarchies like it's 1994. That tension, it's been simmering for weeks. Now, thanks to Musgrave's comments, it's boiling over. Let's break it down. Why isn't Shedeur getting scout team reps? Is it politics? Is it pride? Is it fear of what happens if he outshines the starter in practice? Because let's be honest, he would. The kid's been throwing ropes since high school. His tape is elite. His pocket presence is rare. He's been under national scrutiny since he could drive, and he never once flinched. And now he's riding the bench behind the bench. Not because he failed, but because someone upstairs decided it wasn't his time. Except that's not how greatness works. You don't put on hold. You harness it. You build around it. You don't wait for a QB to be 100% perfect before giving him reps. That's not development. That's micromanagement disguised as strategy. And it's failing loudly. Now, let's talk about what this means for Shedeur. Because every day he doesn't take a snap. Every day he stands in the background while a floundering offense runs drills without him, his window narrows. He came into the league with momentum, buzz, legacy, and skill. But the NFL doesn't wait. It's a machine. And if a player's not on the field, he starts to fade from playbooks, from conversations, from game plans, but not from the fans. That's what makes this different. Because despite the Browns trying to quietly push Shedeur into a development year, the fans have refused to let the story die. They see through the excuses. They hear the empty platitudes and pressers. And now, thanks to Musgrave, they have confirmation that something isn't right. They're not overreacting. They're not reading between the lines. They're finally reading the truth. Let's talk about the conspiracy theories for a second, because, they've arrived. People are speculating that Deion Sanders, Shedeur's father, is secretly fuming behind the scenes, that he's pulling strings, that there's a keep him quiet or we'll deal with a PR fallout mandate floating around. Others think the Browns are intentionally suppressing Shedeur's progress to avoid quarterback controversy this season, with a plan to trade him next year and spin it as a fresh start. And some fans think the Browns are playing long-term chess, keeping Sanders on ice until they clean house at the coaching level. Truth? We don't know yet. But here's what we do know. The people in charge aren't saying much of anything. And that silence? It's louder than any rumor. You can only sideline a star for so long before the fallout gets louder than the plan. And that fallout is already here. Local sports radio is flooded with angry callers demanding transparency. Beat reporters are starting to ask more direct questions. Social media is filled with highlight reels of Shedeur's college days paired with captions like, "Still can't get scout team reps?" Meanwhile, every other team in the league is watching closely, because if the Browns don't want him, you better believe somebody else does. Shedeur Sanders may be benched, but he's not forgotten. He's not invisible, and he is not broken. He's just waiting. And that's the part that should scare Cleveland the most, because a player like Shedeur, you can only suppress that fire for so long. Eventually, the moment comes. The starter struggles. The crowd gets loud. The questions get pointed. The front office gets uncomfortable. And when that moment hits, if he's ready, if he's sharp, if he's still been putting in the work, despite being pushed to the shadows, he'll erupt. And everything the Browns did to keep him quiet will backfire spectacularly. So where does that leave us? With a quarterback coach who maybe said too much, with a locker room growing more divided by the day, with a fan base that's running out of patience, and with a player who has every right to be furious but isn't. Instead, he's biding his time, working in the shadows, waiting for the moment that should have come already. And when it does, you'll remember this moment, when the Browns had a chance to do the right thing, to develop, to lead, to trust, and they chose image over impact. Again, drop your thoughts in the comments. Is this just more Browns dysfunction or something deeper? Should Shedeur demand a trade? Or is a storm coming and they just don't know it yet? Subscribe for more breakdowns, more brutal truths, and all the fallout from football's most dramatic franchise. Because if you think this story is messy, wait until Shedeur gets back on the field. Not even close. If you thought Bill Musgrave's comments were the final straw in this saga, you're not seeing the full storm system moving in. What we're witnessing isn't just a misstep in player development. It's not just bad communication. It's a full-blown identity crisis. The Browns, this eternally snake-bitten, cursed by the football gods franchise, have once again found a way to make the wrong kind of noise. And the difference this time, everyone's watching. Because it's not just about wins and losses anymore. It's not even about quarterback depth charts. This is about credibility, about whether a franchise can be trusted to handle talent, to manage expectations, and to not crumble under the weight of its own dysfunction. And the irony? The Browns finally have a quarterback who represents the future, and they're too busy protecting the past to let him take a single meaningful rep. Let's talk about the optics. You have a coach, Musgrave, who unintentionally exposed the game. Not the game on Sundays. The real game behind the scenes, where politics, hierarchy, and insecurity reign, where being ready isn't about ability, it's about alignment. And let's be real, Shedeur Sanders? He doesn't fit the mold the Browns have been clinging to for years. He's not the gritty underdog with no expectations. He's not the backup journeyman who quietly holds a clipboard and takes whatever scraps the team throws him. He's a calculated disruptor, poised, branded, composed, born into football royalty, but determined to carve out his own legacy. And oh yeah, he just happens to be more marketable than half the league starters combined. That's not a problem. That's a gift, unless you're too scared to unwrap it. Right now, Shedeur is being treated like the threat, when he should be treated like the plan. Every franchise wants the guy. The quarterback they can put on billboards. The leader who commands a locker room, sells jerseys, and elevates a team just by stepping onto the field. The Browns? They might already have him, but they're acting like they accidentally drafted him. And this is where it gets tragic, because Shedeur isn't spiraling. He's not melting down in the media. He's not giving free-me interviews or scrubbing his Instagram. He's not threatening a trade. He's doing the one thing players are always told to do: be a professional, stay ready. And what does that get him? A front row seat to watch the team fumble both the football and their future. Meanwhile, the fan base is imploding. You got signs going up outside the stadium. Talk radio callers are foaming at the mouth. One Cleveland columnist even wrote, "If Shedeur doesn't get a real chance, I'm out." That's not drama. That's not noise. That's the sound of a city losing faith. And the franchise still hasn't responded. No clarification. No plan. No urgency. They're just letting it simmer, as if it'll go away. Spoiler, it won't. Because the longer they keep Shedeur sidelined without transparency, the louder the outrage grows. Let's not pretend this is about football anymore. This is about trust. The Browns are asking fans to trust the process, to trust the coaches, to trust the developmental timeline. But here's the thing. Trust is earned. And this franchise has spent decades squandering it. Brady Quinn, Colt McCoy, Brandon Weeden, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson. How many quarterbacks does one team need to burn before we stop giving them the benefit of the doubt? At some point, it's not a rebuild. It's a pattern. And you know who sees that pattern clearer than anyone? Other teams. You think other franchises aren't circling? Waiting for the Browns to fumble this just enough to slide in with a trade package? Whispers are already out there. NFC execs quietly checking in. Coaches with aging QBs imagining Shedeur in their system. Marketing departments salivating at the chance to pair him with their brand. Because here's what they know, and what the Browns seem to ignore. Shedeur Sanders isn't just a rookie QB. He's a cultural moment waiting to explode. And if Cleveland won't give him the platform, somebody else absolutely will. But here's the thing that makes this whole saga so painful to watch. Shedeur wants to be here. He's not mailing it in. He's not disengaged. He's showing up, studying film, mentoring younger players, doing everything right. And for what? To watch a revolving door of mediocrity take the reps that should be shaping his career? This isn't just a wasted season. It's a warning sign. Because there's only so long you can keep a player like this on ice before the frostbite spreads. To the locker room, to the front office, to the soul of the franchise. The fans see it. The media sees it. Even Musgrave, whether intentionally or not, just said it. So the question is no longer, when will Shedeur play? It's, will Cleveland have the courage to stop hiding behind the plan and start living in the moment? Because the moment is here. It's loud. It's messy. It's full of tension and risk. But it's also full of possibility. Shedeur isn't the problem. He's the answer to a problem Cleveland has been trying to solve since before some of these players were even born. And the longer they treat him like a backup, the more obvious it becomes. The Browns didn't just bench Shedeur. They benched their own future. So now the ball's in their court. Or rather, their sideline. They can keep playing scared. Keep pretending the plan is unfolding as intended. Keep feeding fans empty quotes and overproduce PR clips. Or they can look at the chaos they created, lean into the noise, and finally do what needs to be done. Play the kid, not tomorrow, not next season, not after a full install. Now, because if they don't, it won't be long before Shedeur Sanders walks out of that building head high, reputation intact, and signs of a team that knows what it has. And the Browns? They'll be left doing what they always do, wondering what could have been, watching someone else win with their wasted potential. Coaches are trying to convince the media it's all part of a structured developmental process. Sure, and Cleveland's been rebuilding since VHS tapes. The truth is, the Browns are stuck, paralyzed by their own fear. Fear of shaking the status quo. Fear of admitting they've misjudged the moment. Fear of what it would mean to admit Shedeur should have been in the game months ago. But here's the thing about fear. It leaks. It spreads. It infects leadership. And right now, that infection's deep. Players talk. Veterans grumble. Young guys whisper in the locker room. And the one name you keep hearing? Shedeur. It's whispered with frustration, spoken with curiosity, shouted in the stands on game day. And the coaches know it. That's why they're clamping down harder. Why the reps are shrinking. Why Musgrave's accidental truth bomb landed like a meteor. They're losing the locker room. Because nothing loses a locker room faster than watching talent get ignored. Let's talk about those Musgrave comments again, because that wasn't a press conference. That was a public slip of internal chaos. We're focusing on other things right now. Translation? We don't know what to do, so we're doing nothing. You don't have to be a football expert to see through that. You just need to be awake. The real stunner wasn't what he said. It's what it confirms. All those rumors? That Shedeur is being held back intentionally? That the Browns don't want him outshining the current starter in practice? That they're afraid of quarterback controversy? They're not rumors anymore. They're facts in disguise. Musgrave just took the disguise off. Now let's go back to Shedeur. Still no public statement. Still no cryptic tweets. No deleted photos. No drama. Why? Because he knows he doesn't need to play the media game. The media is already playing for him. His name is trending every Sunday without even playing a snap. Do you know how rare that is? That kind of gravitational pull? It doesn't come from hype. It comes from reputation, from aura. And Cleveland's treating that aura like a problem instead of the gift that it is. So what's the end game here? Is the plan to keep him hidden all season? Let him rot in the background while the offense continues to underperform? Or worse, wait until it's too late. Throw him in out of desperation and act like it was a strategy all along? Either way, they're flirting with irreversible damage to Shedeur's development, to team morale, to their own credibility. Because if they do put him in and he thrives, then the question becomes, why didn't you do this sooner? And if they don't, then it becomes, why are you wasting what might be the best quarterback prospect the city's had since Bernie Kosar? Spoiler, there's no good answer to either of those. Let's not forget the economic side of this. This isn't just a locker room issue. It's a franchise-wide miscalculation. Shedeur's jersey sales have outpaced half the starting QBs in the league. Local businesses are literally running free Shedeur promo nights. Browns fans are showing up with his name on homemade signs. Even when he's inactive, you got Cleveland, a football city known for suffering skepticism and years of broken promises, believing in someone again. And the front office is responding by keeping him behind a clipboard. That's not just mismanagement. That's sabotage. And here's where this really gets wild. What happens if Shedeur asks out? What if he finally says, I want a shot somewhere else? You think there's not a line of teams ready to make that phone call? Atlanta, Tampa, Las Vegas. Teams with aging QBs, mid-tier offenses, and a desperate need for identity. You think Jerry Jones hasn't already imagined Shedeur under center in Dallas? Cameras flashing, Dion watching from the luxury box? You think the NFL wouldn't salivate over that storyline? Because the league loves drama. It thrives on it. And right now, Cleveland is sitting on the most compelling subplot in the entire NFL and treating it like a nuisance. So let's play out both scenarios. 1, Cleveland holds on. Eventually, they cave to pressure. The starter gets injured or benched. Shedeur steps in, plays lights out, sparks a second-half surge. Everyone pretends it was a plan all along. The city goes wild. The franchise saves face, barely. But the trust, the relationship, it's fractured. They still wasted months. They still created unnecessary tension. And Shedeur knows that. 2, Cleveland trades him. The fan base riots, figuratively, hopefully. Shedeur goes somewhere else. Lights it up. And every Browns game for the next 5 years gets followed by, remember when they had Shedeur and let him walk? Sound familiar? Ask the Panthers how they feel watching Christian McCaffrey ball out in San Francisco. Ask the Giants about Odell's one-handed catches in a Browns jersey. It always looks worse in hindsight. But right now, Cleveland still has a choice. This is the part of the movie where the music swells. The mentor gives a final speech. The quarterback puts his helmet on, and we head into the final act. But in real life, you don't get dramatic orchestras and heroic montages. You get meetings. You get pressure. You get consequences. And right now, the Browns are standing at a crossroads of one of the most exciting prospects they've had in decades. One path leads to redemption. The other leads to regret. So, Browns front office, this is your moment. Stop hiding behind vague coach speak. Stop pretending this is about timing. Stop holding Shedeur back to protect someone else's ego. And start doing what this fan base and this franchise deserves. Put him in the game. Let him fail. Let him flourish. Let him be the spark you so desperately need. Because the only thing worse than losing is watching the guy who could have saved you walk out the door. And trust me, if that happens, you won't just lose games. You'll lose Cleveland. Drop your take in the comments. Should the Browns trade Shedeur now before the pressure explodes? Or is this the last chance to make it right? Hit subscribe if you're riding this train to the bitter or glorious end. Because the Sanders saga, it's far from over. And the next chapter might just burn the whole script.